Alright, what's up guys, it's Zero here, and today we're here with a video that I didn't even think I'd be making because honestly, I didn't even know I was going to play in this. I found out about the qualifiers like 20 minutes before the event was going to start, and I decided to join it on the last minute, and I actually won. So, see here, I actually got first. I even myself was surprised. So, here we'll just go over the run. So, if you don't know what I played Luard. It's more specifically the zero damage or the damage choke version of the deck, because I think that is the best way to play the deck. And in the current meta, it was the deck that I thought was the best, that was the most stable. I personally am not the biggest fan of like super unga bunga combo decks, being like Royals and Pale Moon. I definitely obviously had the option to play those decks, but I personally chose to not because I wanted a more stable deck, and Luard, in my opinion, was the best of the stable decks, being a Neo Nectar. So that's why I personally chose to play the deck and go over my run. So unlike global qualifiers where it's however many rounds of Swiss, I think the one that happened like 2 days ago is like 8 rounds of Swiss. JP qualifiers is a bracket and it's best of 1. So even worse, you lose one game, you are instantly out. So yeah, so it was best of 1, no lose bracket, no anything. You lose one game, you're done. So yeah, so my round 1 was against excuse me for not saying their names, I do not know their names. It is all in Moon Runes. I guess his name was Fried Rice. My matchup was Gear Chronicle. I very clearly remembered going first in this match, as with the majority of my games I went first. But I don't really recall anything special happening here. I probably just did game plan, and I won off of that. I do remember he revolutioned me for like an entire board, but I was fine with it because Drag Driver, you just call a card back out, use that to stack 2 more, and you just get a whole board back with that. And I don't think this man had a second pair of revolutions, so yeah. Nothing too special here. I think his deck wasn't exactly, in my eyes, optimal. There was a bunch of cards that I don't think I would have been playing myself. So I think his deck was definitely a little suboptimal, but yeah, we got the job done here, round 1. Nothing too special here, just Gear Chronicle being a not very good deck. Next off, my next round opponent was Link Joker. So I guess I'll bring up for open qualifier, for this qualifiers, it is not deckless locked, it's clan locked. So here I would think to myself, this guy is in round 2. I didn't at the time I didn't see if he had a buy or not. After playing the game and seeing his list, I would very much assume he had a buy. Seeing that he was at least in round 2, I just assumed he knew what he was doing and that he'd probably like side his entire deck and Deleter specifically play against me, because I'm playing Shadow Paladin. The best Shadow Paladin deck is Luard, and Deleters are quite the hard counterpick against Luard. So I thought he'd swap to that. So I made like a slight changes into the G zone. I took out more of the ritual reliant cards. I knew I wouldn't have a drop zone for more Diablo strides. I definitely checked in the harmonics. But it turns out he was playing Starvaders, and his deck was an absolute pile. So this man's deck was rainbow triggers. He was playing draws, stands, and crits. I think I saw a Chaos Bringer on heal along with heal guard, so split triggers, split heals, rainbow triggers. He never tried into harmonics to get CB against me, as I just held him at 0 for the majority of the game. And seeing as this man's deck was indeed a pile, I choked him at 0, choked him out of resources, because what is this deck doing against 18k intercepts if it can't actually hit into them or lock them? So I choked him out of resources. I think at some point I gave him 2 when he had like literally no cards in hand, so I wasn't really scared of him doing much of anything to me. So I choked him at 2, and then I think I like drag drivered him 3 times from 2 for 4 crit to the face, like 3 times, and he eventually died. So not much to go about there. I'm sorry to my opponent. I'm sure you're a new player, but that's just how it goes when you play this deck. You will bully anyone who doesn't know what they're doing against it. So that kind of sucks for my opponent, but I'll take the easy dub there. Next game I played against Angel Feather. I think my opponent's name is Conra. I think this guy is a very big Angel Feather enthusiast. But yeah, he was playing Gav with Legions. I think it was like 9 draw Gav with Legions. Again, not a whole lot to tech out for the matchups or anything like that. I guess with my own side deck, quote unquote side deck, in matchups where I didn't need Peeker, which is I think was quite literally all of them. I don't think I played in a single retire matchup. The Peekers went out. I literally didn't remember this until like this round, so I took the Peekers out for Arian odds. Obviously take out the harmonics and whatever. My opponent here definitely sided Peekers into their main deck as they should, because Luar does not or rather Ogma isn't very effective against anti-retire, and Peeker just kind of deals with that. So very nice thing for my opponent. I think my Nectar opponent also did this with Neo Nectar, but I did cost in the game. But we'll go over that once we actually get there. It was just a really grindy game. Angel Feather actually does have ways to scale over the 18k, so it's pretty good there. But this deck also just has zero push pressure. I think obviously Angel Feathers has like the no seals and all that stuff to refund CB every turn, and then they have what's her name, Ultiel to like not deck out. So the game went on for I think this went to like a turn 11, turn 12 game. But because Angels just cannot push damage per game, he was doing like 2 checks a turn, and I'm just like, okay, I can just I block with the heals first, and then I just recycle my PGs and loop them over and over again. So that's basically what I did there. At some point, I saw him drive check his last PG, so I drag drivered him 2 turns in a row just to get those PGs out of his hand from 3. I saw he drove check the last one, so on the 3rd turn, where I Chris deck again, I went Spectral. I went Spectral Diablo, drove check like crit, and then restood with another crit, and then he died because I knew he had the last PG in hand, and I just thought that game went. Very, very grindy game, but Angels cannot push at all whatsoever. They can't really push for game. Again, like I said, this guy did like 2 checks to me at most. So, yeah, that's how that game went. I just play a better grind game than them, and I have a much better way to end games. I loop my guards many times. So yeah, that's how that game went. That's it for that round. Next round, my opponent here played Neo Nectar, and this was a very interesting game actually. Let me actually see if I can find the very interesting about thing here. I did save this somewhere, so let me see if I can find it real quick. This was last night. Oh yeah, here it is. I think this here sums it up quite well what happened in this game. As you can see here, my opponent has 4 cards in deck, 2 damage, and I have 3 crit. What happens here? He goes to 5, he draws return, he decks out. So this was like this was like one of the first game. I think this was actually the first game I've seen someone actually deck out on Neo Nectar. But as you can see here, he has Peekers too, so Peekers really helped in this matchup. Ogma was not nearly as effective. That being said, I think that on the 1 turn I did Ogma him, he his board was like 3 Thurias and 2 Peekers, so he still lost 3 cards out of his hand. So it's limited to how much it helps again when there's Thurias on the board. But yeah, this guy didn't ever go into harmonics. I think his strides were like, Arboreal, Salfina, and I'm just like, okay. I actually never have to give you damage. At some point, I gave him like 1, and then I gave him 2 on the next turn. And I knew he didn't have another guard in hand, so I knew I had lethal on the next turn as long as I hit my stack, which I did have ways to force it if I needed to. But I gave him 2, and he decided to use Lost Memory on this turn to try to draw that last PG in his deck, because I think he shuffled his deck and then tried to draw into a Lost Memory. Let's just say him drawing the 3 cards, because his board here was a Thuria and Lost Memory. Him drawing the 3 cards here put him to this range of deck out, and that's why he lost. So this man was pretty much dead regardless. It didn't really matter what I did here, what he did realistically speaking. But he chose the funny way out where he decks himself out. So there's that. So there's this round. Like I said, I don't know what my opponent was doing. I guess he was just desperate. Didn't see his other loose condition of deck out if he did draw. So there's this round. So there's this round done, round 4. And here we are now at semifinals. I think my opponent's name is I don't remember. I think this guy was one of the guys who topped like a C or something. We played a Luard Mirror, and this is one matchup where you are not going to damage your opponent, because there's really no point, honestly speaking, because Luard strides for free anyways. They generate a bunch of advantage. Obviously they can go harmonize themselves, so yeah, this matchup is just not a matchup damage. I again went first, so yeah, I went first in every matchup but the Neo Nectar opponent, which doesn't even matter because it's a really slow matchup anyways. But yeah, I went first here. The guy first turn, he slammed down. He wrote something, slammed down the Grey One Owl, switched to Luar and went rear van, and he checked the crit, and I took 3 on my first turn, and I had 2 PGs on my damage. And I'm like, yeah, I guess this is where my run ends. But clearly it didn't, because he also had no guards in hand. I think on his first right turn he went Aura Geyser. He didn't find any guards off of it. And then on my turn, I Augma'd him for his entire board minus the 1 peeker on his board, because even though I went first, I think I drew like every Morfessa in my deck, so I could super turbo my my ritual count. So I Augmented his board to basically force him to use the peeker if he wanted to if you wanted to actually use the strike bonus to force it off the board. And then throughout in between those turns, I drew the rest of my PG, so I drew the other 2 plus a few heals. So I was chilling. I was in a good spot, even though I was at 5 at the end of his first stride. I drew the rest of my guards. I drew a few heals too, so I was in a very good spot to live. And on my first turn, I Augment his board, so his front was obviously cleared out. He was at 3 because he healed down. I go rear, Van checks a crit, and then I give power to the rest. My rear column was not scaling because it was 15k versus obviously 16 that I was not hitting. I check crit. I force the PG out of his hand, push him to 5, and on the next turn I just kill him with another Augma, I think, because I wanted to clear his front row for 3 checks. So yeah, so I won because he also didn't draw his cards, even though I had 2 PGs in my damage. So I guess get out skilled here basically. So yeah, there's that. There's this round, and then my final round. Oh, let me open the bracket up again. So that was my semi-final match, and then my very last round was against Pale Moon, the new boogeyman of the set, of the meta. Everything's good. I do agree with it, and this was a game that I honestly should have lost because I won because my opponent timed out on his kill turn. So obviously I still did my damage deny stuff. I went first here, unfortunately. I went first. I ate a bunch of shit. I took a lot of aim. I think because I think I just couldn't draw intercepts either early, because I think I had to put down early to not take too much. And then on my first right turn, I just didn't draw a second intercept because I think I really needed to go for Augma again. So this is another game where I could turbo Ritual 5 really easy to draw my Morfessas early. But I just did draw intercepts off the Augma, so I had or off of on my first stride where he had to go harmonics. Never mind. I went first, so on his first harmonic stride, I only had 1 intercept, so I still went to 4 on 4. So that really sucked. And then I went to Augma on my first turn, on my first stride, to try to draw guards and force as much cards out of his hand as possible. But on that turn, I needed to. My hand was already at 9 because I think I had to sack up Owl to like the grade 0 Owl to use stride bonus. So I drew off of that. I was at 9 cards in hand, but I had to use a Swordbreaker to soul out a grade 1 to actually hit the Ritual 5s. I don't want to overcall anything or use the stuff in my hand. And lo and behold, I overhanded a PG off of it, which would have let me live if he didn't time out. So that really sucked for me. That was like, fuck me. I think I lose here because I overhanded the PG. But on my opponent's kill turn, he timed out. I think he had exactly, because he hit one trigger to exactly hit over double heal cards. I was on his kill turn. I had 2 PGs and 3 heals in hand. Obviously having that third PG would have saved me, but he timed out. I think he whiffed on the last after he extended with his Betty. He timed out. He couldn't do his last 2 attacks to kill me, and because his soul had no Betties in it, he had to soul charge so many unnecessary times with his with cards to get those Betties into soul. He did eventually find it, but after he timed out on his turn, he had 2 left in deck at 4 damage. So he had the guards needed to survive my attacks. He had 2 PGs in hand, but it doesn't matter because I poke him for 1 and he draws for turn and he decks out. So I won because of deck out and he timed out. So there's that. So I guess a little bit of give and take. I lost to the garbage game mechanics of overhanding a PG. He lost to not playing fast enough and losing to the timer. So a little bit of give and take there, I guess. But yeah, there's that. So yeah, there's my run. That was six rounds of best of 1. And honestly speaking, I think Lured is quite a good deck. I think it plays really well into basically everything. I think Royals are probably your worst matchup. I ran into 0 of those. Followed by Pale Moon, I ran into that until the last round, and my opponent timed out. So yeah, definitely. I don't think I did anything particularly wrong here. I think I played as best as I could in every round. And so yeah, so there's this. And what I get out of this, I think I get the invite to the next CS, obviously, which I was already grinding for. So this saved me 5 days of playing 0, so it's pretty good there. I think I get 10 packs of new set, and I get a cool new banner to play with. So yeah, pretty quick video here. I thought it'd be a little quicker, but still 15 minutes. But what can you do, right? So that was my little run through the qualifiers. Quick little video. So yeah. So yeah, not much else to say. I'll see you guys next time, I guess. Like and subscribe, look at stuff. Peace out.